What's going on, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. It's time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. Let's go over the books I read this week. Starting over in Marvel, we have the Ultimates issue number 16. Dennis Camp on this one. This is actually a pretty cool, street level look at the resistance that's building that the Ultimates have been working on for quite some time. Many issues ago, we saw Luke Cage, the Ultimate version of Luke Cage, and how he's trying to change the prison systems. He's actually turning them into universities or schools or camps or whatever it might be. Building up the ranks of the Ultimates, right? Street level people, low level, powered people, whatever it might be. So we get to see what that looks like in the streets, right? Like this one girl, she is kind of, separating from her family a little bit. She's seeing the atrocities all over the place, and she's trying to stand up against this, right? She's joining some local chapters and doing all these things. What we learned through this issue, though, is that there are a lot of Ultimate agents just kind of peppered around in society right now. There's a lot more of them than we think inside the pages. So it's kind of cool to see this rebellion rising. I will say, it is interesting from that point of view, but that's all you really get inside the issue, just that whole story playing out right there. So it's not necessarily the issue that I was expecting this close to when the maker is supposed to be breaking out, which should be sometime in the winter, but it is showcasing how the message is spreading around the world right now, how it's impacting everybody and what that street level impact is. So I thought the perspective is pretty cool from that point of view. So let me know if you guys read this one. What do you guys think down below? Next up is Benjamin Percy on Predator Kills the Marvel Universe issue number 2. I actually liked issue number 1. It was a lot of dumb fun, you know what I mean? But I like Kraven leading this hunt that the Predators are on right now, systematically taking out the heroes of Earth. And I thought that really was a great opening issue, taking on the Fantastic Four and everything, and what that actually means. And his way of approaching this seems really logical, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing there. So we continue that monologue that Kraven has, we got to cut off the brain, you know what I mean, when we're attacking. And that was Reed Richards, essentially. We had to take out the Fang. That was Johnny or the Thing or whoever it was. So now we're going more towards the Earth right now, and we're taking on a new team, specifically Professor X and Magneto in here. Of course, they are down in the mansion or whatever they are. They're having one of their classic meets, talking about their philosophies and whatnot. And that's when the Predators attack in amazing fashion. I will say in this issue, it wasn't as shocking or insane as issue number 1 was. I remember gasping a couple of times in issue number 1. This one was a little bit more tame, I would say, but I'm sure we're going to have issues where that kind of comes and goes. This one didn't hit as hard, but it was still cool to see what Kraven's plan is and then watching the Predators execute that. I think it's pretty awesome that they're doing that. So I gotta say, so far, 2 issues in, I am having more fun with this Kills the Universe book than I would normally. And so I'm digging that. That's pretty awesome. Let me know if you guys are reading it. Issue number 2 is out down below. All right, let's go over to DC next. We have Batman Second Night number 1, the DC Black Label second volume here from Dan Jurgens. We have Perkins and Spicer on this as well. So I really loved the first volume of this. It has a great aesthetic vibe to it. Set in the 30s, we're going to World War II right now, or it's spinning up at this point. So we have a lot of commentary about that, of course. We have this great atmosphere that Perkins and Spicer has. They have this way about them, this murkiness, this muddiness, capturing the aesthetic of that era perfectly in here. The colors are breathtaking as well, so Spicer's doing a great job there. Whenever those two are together, magic happens. As for the story itself, this is a younger Batman. He has a lot of practical gadgets. This is not like a Batman animated adventure kind of a vibe where it had that retro feel, but everything was real modernized. And so a lot of practicality in this Batman, still really young, and he's trying to figure things out as well, building his relationships around town with Gordon and everybody else at the same time. So I really like this kind of Batman. Now, in the first volume, we did have a Universal Monsters twist to it. We had these monstrous men. They were pretty much the result of some mad experiment, something like that. We have some stuff going on right now, but we're specifically focusing on fear. And I'll let you figure out maybe the rogues gallery that might be involved in that. But so far, I'm loving it. It's just like volume number 1, which was a cool take on Batman himself. A little bit something different than we're used to seeing. It has a retro vibe to it. It has a year 1 vibe to it, but it's set back in the 30s, so it has a whole different feel to it. So if you're not completely worn out on Batman just yet, check out Second Night. Go back and read the first volume too. It's not essential reading, but it'll at least give you some context as to who the characters are, some of the relationships that we have inside here too. You won't be blind going into just this volume, but it will help if you go back and read number 1. But let me know if you guys read this one. What were your thoughts down below? All right, let's continue Batman with Wade and Samney and Lopes on Batman and Robin Year 1. We have issue number 11 out this week. This was a great issue, guys. Continuing the amazing run that this team has been on, bringing us all this emotion, this incredible artwork. What an amazing visual treat this book has been so far. You can actually pre-order, I think, the softcover and the hardcover right now, so definitely check out if your LCS is going to grab some of those. Pick up a copy if you haven't read this yet. It is awesome. So throughout this entire run, we're dealing with a lot of different crime families in Gotham, some other players trying to push their weight around in the city, and some of our classic mobsters stepping up and pushing back, and it's been awesome so far. The introduction of Clayface in here and what they did to that character, they modified him a little bit, and we're able to kind of replicate his powers across the ranks, but like at what cost? That's what this issue is all about, exploring what the limitations of that is, and it's done in dramatic fashion. A lot of heart, a lot of like sorrow and sadness in the Batman character when he realizes what's going on, and it's just handled really well. And when we talk about Samney and Lopes on the arts, guys, it is incredible. It has lots of emotion between it, lots of quick panels of like eyes and reactions, the gruesomeness, the body horror that's inside the issue, done really well. It's very effective. I love that team on anything, and you know, it's a perfect compliment to Wade's writing and the story in general. So great package here, amazing story. Again, it's another Batman book, but guys, it's killing it right now. Batman and Robin, year 1, number 11, definitely check it out. Continuing DC, we have New Gods issue number 10. Got that Ian Bertram cover right there. Rom V on this one, Evan Cagle. And we have a guest artist that's doing the majority of the interior artwork. And I'll start with the artwork in general. We do have a rotating cast, and that's a pretty standard thing inside of New Gods right now. But I just do not dig what's going on inside the interior pages for the majority of this book. The quiet moments, the action moments, they all seem a little bit off. I'm not a big fan of the coloring. It's just not my taste. So I would say that like the artist style here really kind of took me out of the entire comic. There are moments inside the book that are cool, but like for the most part, it kind of drew me out of the story, which to be honest with you is not that strong right now to begin with. So kind of bummed out by this issue. I don't want to get into big spoilers here, but Maxwell Lord is a key character inside of here. He gets the help of some shady anti-hero to abduct this child. And so I'll let you kind of like piece together all that stuff, whether it was a good idea or not. But it's been essentially the heroes are retaliating against this force right now, and they're seeing what else is coming down the pipe right now. We have this big enemy force on its way, and I think we're going to see the introduction of that here very soon. But yeah, the artwork wasn't great in this story. I'm not digging the narrative in general. I don't know. I was just hoping for a little bit more, to be honest with you here. But I'm anxious to know what you guys thought of this book if you read it, and the series in general. Let me know down below. All right, probably the biggest book of the week was Deadpool Batman issue number 1, the Marvel DC crossover, 23 years in the making. Actually published by Marvel. Zeb Wells is actually doing a lot of the writing in here. We have Greg Capullo, and we have Sinclair, we have Townsend, we have Clayton Cowles, and we have some other folks on here as well. So the main story in the book is Batman and Deadpool. Now you might think like, what a weird combination of characters that might be. But you know, Batman has familiarity with crazy, insane people like the Joker. And, you know, if you didn't think the Joker was not going to be in the story, I got some news for you. He's definitely in the story. And I think he was used fairly well in combination with Deadpool, which is kind of weird to say. Now, I don't know what your expectations were for this series. I wasn't around reading comics when the initial crossover happened, so I didn't really have a lot of high expectations for this run in general. But I got to say, like, I was at least entertained through most of it. The artwork was pretty solid. Capullo's on that, so that does help, you know, at least for the first story. Of course, we have Chip Zdarsky and Terry Dodson on the Captain America Wonder Woman story in there. Basically, two sides of the same coin, trying to influence each other, trying to keep each other on the right track throughout the ages. That's basically what that story is about. Had some interesting moments there, featured some crossovers on both sides and how they were in each other's lives during those moments. So kind of like rewriting history from this point of view. Of course, we get a Jeff the Landshark and Crypto issue there from Kelly Thompson, which I thought was okay. I'm not a big Jeff the Landshark kind of a fan or Crypto fan, to be honest with you. So like, it didn't really resonate with me, and it was only a few pages long, but it was still cute. Nonetheless, we get a Kevin Smith and Adam Kubert, Daredevil and Green Arrow, little collaboration right here. And I thought that was pretty cool, man. There's some interesting parts in there where they're basically fighting each other's villains and they bump into each other and they have to like team up to take on the threats right here. It ends in a kind of eye-rolly yet cool way, I think. So like that collaboration kind of worked for me. There's like a Guardians of the Galaxy meets Green Lantern kind of a thing in here too. I didn't really enjoy that story that much. That was kind of eye-rolly early. Then there's a Frank Miller Dark Knight meets Old Man Logan. Couple pages in here with them just battling it out. I never thought I'd ever see this coming together right here. So that was pretty short, and it was kind of uneventful, but it was at least fun to see. And then we get an insane amalgamation from Logo, which is Logan and Lobo combined, and he has 2 or 3 pages to push his weight around, being the best at what he does, kind of stuff right there. So like overall, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Now, was it good? It was okay. I wasn't around for the first one, so I can't compare it to anything. Now, I had pretty low expectations to begin with. I wasn't mad at it. It just didn't blow my mind, I guess, which I think it probably should have. I don't know, guys. What'd you guys think? If you read it, let me know down below. All right, let's go over to Dynamite next. We have Captain Planet and the Planeteers issue number 5. Propose on this one. This was a great issue, just like all the other issues of Captain Planet. If you're not reading this one, I highly recommend checking it out. It is YA, but it does have a lot of cool moments in there and a lot of adult themes, so I think you're really going to enjoy it. What I love is we're 5 issues in and we already have Captain Pollution versus Captain Planet. And I think the evolution of Plunder into Captain Pollution was pretty cool. The way he was able to synthesize the rings using our Planeteers and the fact that they're broken up right now. They really haven't come together as a team, taking advantage of that situation to create the rings and then wreak havoc on the Earth and some of the Planeteers individually. I thought that was awesome. All the individual players have something to do, something to tackle. They're not just sitting around. They don't know what to do or anything like that. So they each have a voice. They're acting appropriately. So I really like it when they come together and eventually they have that big battle between Pollution and Captain Planet. I really loved everything about that. The interior artwork, I would say, is growing on me for sure. So they're doing some cool things. There's lots of elemental things happening in here. So you got to have that strong sense of style and design and everything. And I think it's being handled pretty well. You know, it's at least serviceable for the story. And so the good thing, the story is pretty strong because it gets to pull a little bit of the weight there. But overall, I would say it's a really great book. Highly recommend checking this one out. Like any other thing that Propose is doing right now. Captain Planet and the Planeteers issue 5. Let me know if you're reading it. All right, let's go over to IDW for the next couple of books. We have TMNT, Casey Jones issue number 1, Alex Packnadell on this one. So I didn't really have high expectations. I got to be honest with you. I'm coming out of this Turtles run right now. I got one more issue before Jason Aaron and Juan Ferrer are off of that book. So I have a bad taste in my mouth about this series in general, unfortunately. But I'm going to give Casey Jones a shot, see what's going on inside there. I will say it is a direct link to the proper TMNT run right now. So Casey Jones was attacked recently. He's on the mend right now. April's kind of picked up the mantle a little bit, wearing the gear, taking some guys out, trying to help the Turtles, right? This is the Casey Jones who's coming back into his own. He's putting the hockey mask back on. He's grabbing his bag and he's going out there and he's kicking some ass in the streets. That's what we got going on here. There's a lot of internal narrative, you know, talking about how he's trying to find another place in this world right now and how he's going to go about his business and how everything has changed and how April's helping him out and things like that. So we get that inner monologue. This guy's very headstrong. He's very much like Raph, if you guys remember. So, you know, we're trying to deal with a lot of drama right now. And of course, he's still on the mend, so he's trying to balance all of that. He can only get into so much trouble. And of course, while he's out, he finds someone that needs his help. He gets wrapped up in all of their drama and everything. So he's going to be trying to figure out what exactly is going on there, helping the little guy out wherever he can. So pretty admirable. I still got to say, at the end of the day, I'm not super excited for the series going forward. It was a cool issue number 1, but it didn't do enough to really hook me in, I would say. And especially when TMNT is going to be switching creative teams. I know I keep bringing this up, but it really is a bummer for me. I don't know if aesthetically I'm going to like what I'm reading going forward. And the story itself was great, but I think aesthetically it's been very strong these last 12 issues. So we'll see what that looks like in future issues. And if Casey Jones stays on the pull list, well, we're not sure. We're going to see in issue number 2. But let me know what you guys thought, though, down below. All right, sticking with IDW, we have Godzilla Escape the Deadzone issue number 2. Now we have Parker and Sheridan on this one, and we have Pablo Tunica on the art. I will say the interior artwork, the coloring and everything, it's really a standout, I would say, in the issue. Now, this issue was, I think, better than issue number 1. Issue number 1 was still pretty cool. I actually recommended it when I read it. I thought it had some growing needed inside of the story. That's exactly what we have inside of here. You can tell the creative team is just getting better and better. The artwork is getting better in the second issue, the writing is better in the second issue, and the story is getting more engaging, which I'm really digging right now. It is a Godzilla book, but Godzilla's like not even in it. It's really talking about how the landscape has changed now that that radiation has infected some people. You get to see like these cults rising up. Our main character is a little bit changed by this kind of radiation too. So we get to see him as like a hero, kind of like an anti-hero, saving some people and getting wrapped up in their drama. So I really am digging the story right now. Now we were introduced to 2 other characters. We're still learning about like why they're so important, but there's something about them that our main protagonist just needs to figure out. So it's going to be kind of cool to see what that relationship turns into, like what is so special about these folks. And yeah, I would say like the story is really, really doing it for me. The art is really solid as well. So they're doing a great job over here on Escape the Deadzone. Issue number 2 is out. Let me know if you read it. All right, let's close it out in Image. We have the one-man art comic, Simon Kodransky's No Man's Land, issue number 1. Love everything this guy has been putting out. Highly anticipated book. It's been in the making for a long time. Cannot wait to get into this one, and it did not disappoint. This book actually opens up asking a lot of questions about like the human psychology, how we treat each other, deep, dark emotions and violence inside of us. It's actually set also in the Cold War era right now, which is a very interesting time in world history. A lot of cool things happening there, so you get a little bit of detail into that. If you weren't around or don't know a whole lot about it, I highly recommend researching it though. So it's cool to be inside of this era. We do spend a lot of time in this issue understanding who our main protagonist is in here. He's this older gentleman that works for the FBI. He's within retirement age right now, and he's like 1 foot out the door, but he gets dragged back in for one more mission because this mission is actually pretty special. We're actually doing a murder mystery kind of a story right here, and this body was found pretty much right on the border of like the US and Soviet area right now. And so there's a lot of like political drama around that. So he has to be essentially a spy in this situation, get in, figure some stuff out, and then get out of there in one piece. So we kind of put ourselves in his shoes for the first half of this book, understanding the drama, the decision making. And then towards the second half of the book, it's all about like getting this mission over with, right? Because it's essentially ruining our lives. So it does a really good job of putting you again in his shoes and just being part of the story. It really pulls you in. So that's what I really like about it. Plus the visuals inside the book are absolutely breathtaking. I mean, you know Kodransky, you understand like the style we got going on right here. It's murky, it's muddy, it's detailed. It's got a lot of shadow play, things like that. And it also has an intense detail to character expressions and faces and environments. So it does a really great job on the visual part, and it gives us a really interesting story in a really cool time period. So guys, definitely check this one out if you haven't yet. Issue number 1's out. Let me know if you read it. All right, continuing Image, we have G.I. Joe issue number 11. Joshua Williamson on this one, Melina and Low Ridge on it as well. So we're continuing a couple different threads right here. One of them I'm really interested in. The other one was kind of a sidestep, I think, just to kind of solidify relationships within the Joe ranks between Baroness and CoverGirl. We get out of that scenario that we're in, but it was pretty dramatic, and I liked all the action in there at least. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But the other one I'm more specifically interested in is with Clutch and his new Transformer friend. Guys, that's gonna be really cool to see that mix happening a little bit more. I want some more unity in the side of this Energon universe. I want Joes and Transformers like teaming up and taking on stuff. Pepper in some Void Rivals characters. I don't really care, but I just want to see more assimilation of all these different properties coming together. And we're kind of getting that inside of Joe from time to time, but I want more and more of it. We do also touch base on a really cool conversation between Destro and Cobra in here too. Those are like the immovable object meets the unstoppable force, and I really like all the conversations that they have, especially when all the cards are put on the table, which is basically what they're doing right now. They're trying to regain some sense of like unity and peace, but they're both like backstabbing each other constantly. So it's cool to see that conversation blossom a little bit more. And like, where are we going to go from there? I don't know, but I'm all on board for it. So I'd say G.I. Joe overall is pretty cool. Lots of interesting threads going on. It is connected to Transformers more than any other book right now. So I really want to see more of that. And I want to see more Cobra and Destro because I love those moments in early Joe books and in those standalone issues. That was what I was here for. Getting a little bit more of that now, but issue number 11's out. Let me know if you read it. All right, we have Ludo Lullaby and we have Lucas on Ghost Pepper issue number 3 out from Image Comics. This book reads just like an anime, I would say. There's all these eccentric little characters in here popping up, going off on their little tangents that somehow become tied into the overall story. So I'm not going to go over everything about this one, but essentially it's a post-apocalyptic world. We have this girl who runs a food truck right now. It's mobile. It goes all over the place. There's like a Borderlands kind of aesthetic going on right here. And there are these champions, these warriors that have been dormant for some time, some of legend, and they're being woken back up now. Specifically this one, he's getting reoriented to the world, teaming up with this girl in a food truck, and we get to see all the shenanigans that go on there. The powers that be are not happy about having these warriors coming back into the mix, right? And so they're sending out these different agents. They're trying to understand a little bit more about what's going on. Mix all that in with this food truck girl's drama and her competition and the hired help that they have. It's a pretty funny book, I would say, too. Not like laugh out loud funny, but some of the situations are hysterical. I mentioned that manga kind of anime-ish vibe. So if you're into those kinds of stories, if you like that aesthetic, this would be a cool transition for you. If you haven't read comics before, but you've read more manga stuff, if you want to get into comics, that might be a cool transitional piece to get into this series. Then you can try some other stuff. So I would highly recommend that if you're trying to get into comics. I would say like the story is fine. The aesthetic is there. The art style is pretty cool, but it hasn't really done anything to really hook into me just yet. Like I don't feel like I have to read issue number 4 or the rest of the series, to be honest with you, but it's at least enjoyable. I don't regret reading it. It just doesn't do much for me just yet. So Ghost Pepper number 3, it's an all right book. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Then we're going to wrap it up with the Invincible Universe Battle Beast issue number 5. Guys, this is an incredible book. So we have Kirkman, we have Otley on this one, and we have Battle Beast, a character who's trying to find that warrior that can give him the sweet release of death. That's essentially what we're doing right here, teaming up with different life forms throughout the galaxy, trying to find that thing that's going to eventually take him out. We met up with this prince. We rescued him in the past. We're going back to his home world that's been ravaged by these giant beasts. And we're trying to find this beast that could, fulfill this destiny, right? Take out Battle Beast right here. We get a little history lesson on what happened in this area. We meet some real eccentric characters and everything. The aesthetic is really cool. It's got like this medieval kind of vibe to it. We're going into these castle ruins. There's bodies everywhere. And of course, we get to see the big bad dragon essentially at the end of this issue. And it's got a lot of tricks up their sleeves, to say the least. So Battle Beast, trying his best to stay alive, take on his foes, but finally meet that thing that can eventually take him out. We may have met it inside this issue, but Battle Beast has a few tricks up their sleeve as well. It's exciting, it's gnarly, it's graphic, it's in your face. What an incredible book. Battle Beast is out. Let me know if you read it. All right, guys, that's what I read this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you read and what your favorite books of the week were down below. While you're down there, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification to be alerted whenever I put out new videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the comments.